Live from the campus of Penn State University, this is PSN News. It's Wednesday, November 2nd. We have all you need to know about a murder trial happening in Center County, as well as details on a change in leadership for the Central Pennsylvania Festival of Arts.
We also have more on a grant given to Penn State to fund early Alzheimer's detection, along with entertainment, sports, and weather. Stay tuned.
Thanks. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jamie DeBellonia.
And I'm Jace O'Barto.
The trial for the man charged in the 2016 killing of a Pine Grove Mills woman is set to begin Monday. Christopher Kowalski was arrested in February 2021 after telling investigators he killed Jean Tuggy inside her home. He claimed he did so because he was depressed, down, and hopeless. Investigators wrote that the two were co-workers at a State College area grocery store and developed a sexual relationship that Jean planned to end. Jean died of a gunshot wound to the head. Defense lawyer Thomas Egan III plans to mount an insanity defense, a rarely used strategy that 3 legal experts said is difficult to use successfully. Kowalski also has autism, chronic depression, and grandiose delusional disorder. Egan wrote to prosecutors in December 2021 that the conditions caused him to, quote, labor under a defect of reason. Egan will have to show by a majority of the evidence that Kowalski was legally insane. The difference could be between serving time in a state prison or a state hospital.
Tofttree's Golf Resort received a $2.5 million state grant this week as part of the resort's major redevelopment plans. Pennsylvania's Redevelopment Assistance Capital Program gave the grant. The funds will go towards destruction, infrastructure improvements, and other site work at the resort. The estimated $50 million redevelopment project plans to expand the hotel with additional rooms, add a conference center, and a 4,000 square foot luxury spa. It would also create over 100 full-time jobs at the resort. State Senate President Pro Tempore Jake Corman says he looks forward to seeing how the grant will support this project and benefit the local community.
Penn State has announced that a team of university-led researchers recently received a $1.2 million grant. The National Institutes of Health grant will fund a project focused on the early detection of Alzheimer's disease. The team has plans to develop a machine learning system focused on early detection of Alzheimer's. Medical professionals often rely on diagnostic methods for Alzheimer's that can be time-consuming. This can often present challenges for early detection and intervention. The research team aims to contribute to a solution of these issues through the use of biosensing data in combination with the team's developing machine.
After serving as the executive director of the Central Pennsylvania Festival of the Arts for 18 years, Rick Bryant will be stepping down from his position. Bryant first got involved with Arts Fest back in the 1980s as a volunteer. He joined the event's paid staff in 1999 before assuming the role as executive director in 2005. President of Arts Fest's board of directors Renata Engel said, quote, "The joy, music, and art that he has brought to this community have been mainstays and a point of pride," end quote. The board of directors currently has a national search underway with plans for the new executive director to begin work this winter. It may be November, but State College is still experiencing summer-like temperatures. Christian Splone with Campus Weather Service has more details on this week's weather report. Take a look.
From the students of Penn State Meteorology, here is your Penn State Campus Weather Service forecast.
Happy Wednesday and good evening. I'm student meteorologist Christian Spallone here with a look at your PSN News forecast. It was a beautiful day out across the Commonwealth, and much of that is continuing as we head into the evening hours today. Take a look at 4 live cams across the state right now, and you can see just beautiful skies out there. A little bit cloudy off towards western areas like in Pittsburgh here, but overall a nice sunset taking shape there and just blue skies throughout each camera. So it's really nice out there, and it's also pretty warm at the current moment. As we look over the hub right now in Penn State, we can see it's 64 degrees, so a little bit above average for this time of year. Beautiful sunny skies, so it's a great day to be outside today. Our temperatures across the state shows much of those same conditions continuing elsewhere. Everyone is pretty much around the 60-degree mark. Some areas in the upper 50s off towards the west, but there's more clouds. But all the way down in Philadelphia, 70 degrees right now. That's our warm spot. And as we zoom out and look at the nationwide temperature view here, this is a pattern that doesn't really look like the start of November here. And we see all these warm colors associated with these higher temperatures across the central and eastern parts of the state, all the way up into near 70 degrees up in International Falls. Only cold weather is really found out here across the west. So really an unseasonably warm pattern taking shape at the moment nationwide. And this is going to be the theme over the next 6 to 10 days. Here's our 6 to 10 day temperature outlook from the Climate Prediction Center here. And you can see that big red blob centered right over the eastern U.S. That's going to be bringing us our warm temperatures as we head throughout the next week or so. There's a high probability of that. That's what this is showing us, while those cooler colors encompass the western regions there. In terms of our radar at the moment, in our current conditions, it's dry across most of the state and definitely sunnier up towards the northeast. And as we make our way down to the south and west here, we see some showers and some clouds, mainly high clouds working into the areas. The main batch of precipitation is centered down here over West Virginia into some of these areas. This is pretty moisture-starved system, and it's expected to kind of scoot south and east off the coastline. So not really going to get into our area and impact us. Just a few clouds that'll work into southern areas throughout the rest of the day today, but shouldn't be too big a deal. As we look behind this, we see all this clear weather, not much happening here. That's what's going to be working into our region and providing us with that nice weather as high pressure begins to settle in. We can see that on our future weather here. Just a few clouds tonight associated with that system we just mentioned. But after those get out of here, we really just see clear skies throughout the day tomorrow. And then this is all ahead of eventual line of showers that begins to form over the Midwest. All these clear conditions, you can see this big dome of high pressure setting up across the east in a line of showers and even a little bit of snow forming on the backside of it here. Will begin to work towards our area. We see some showers, pretty remnant showers at this point, not too strong, beginning to work into our area by Sunday afternoon. So I think Sunday's our best chance of precipitation. But as this gets out of here, we see beautiful weather take shape again for the start of next week. So any unsettled weather this weekend, not going to be long-lived, although there could definitely be some showers and overall a cloudier pattern as we head into this weekend. In terms of our temperatures over the next day or so, we see them get down pretty chilly tonight to around 37 in State College by tomorrow morning as our low. But as we warm these things up here tomorrow afternoon, another beautiful day out, that'll continue into Friday. Temperatures in the 60s to around 70 degrees in some spots, at least 10 to 15 degrees above average for this time of year. Our forecast for tonight in State College is expecting around 40 degrees as our low. Fog likely out there, so be careful if you're out tomorrow morning. And in terms of our forecast for tomorrow, again, another beautiful day, 66 in State College, abundant sunshine, and just a great day for outdoor activities. And finally, now our 7-day forecast for the State College area. We see these really nice conditions on Thursday and Friday, so a great end to the week. Some clouds begin to build Saturday as that frontal system approaches, and we see a few scattered showers with that on Sunday. But the really big thing about this forecast here is look at these 70-degree readings. Not at all common for the beginning of November, so definitely going to be a lot warmer than the normal out there. And then as we work into next week, sunny skies return, but things begin to cool off a bit as maybe our November chill is finally coming by the end of next week. From the Penn State Campus Weather Service, I'm Christian Spallone. Have a wonderful evening.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm Malia Brown with your sports update. Joe Seeley, a dominant wrestler in the class of 2024, revealed on Monday that he is verbally committed to join the Penn State wrestling team. The talented prospect began wrestling in his hometown of High Point, California, but has now transferred his skills to the prestigious Wyoming Seminary Prep School in Pennsylvania. Seeley is entering his junior season wrestling at 160 pounds. He is ranked as the number 13 pound-for-pound wrestler in the country. He is the top recruit in his class and was third in the Super 32 last year. He is also the Powerade, National Prep, and Beast of the East champions. This is a massive win for the Nittany Lions. Penn State men's hockey is fired up this season and most certainly making their mark. The Nittany Lions this time climbed 3 spots to number 13 in the most recent USCHO poll. The rise to number 13 coincides with another series victory, this time over Wisconsin. The Nittany Lions defeated the Badgers 2-1 in Game 1 and then destroyed them 4-0 the following night. Since the start of their season, the team has moved up in rankings every week. The team will face their hardest battle this weekend as number 1 Michigan comes to Pagola Ice Arena for a series on Friday and Saturday. LeBron James set his eyes on Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's, the NBA's current all-time top scorer, after passing Karl Malone for second place on the career regular season points record. Abdul-Jabbar has held the top spot since April 5th, 1984, when he broke the previous record set by Wilt Chamberlain. With 1,171 points needed to exceed Abdul-Jabbar's nearly 40,000-point career total, James may now break that record. ESPN claims James has a career scoring average of 27.1 points per game. With this data, James would need 44 games in order to reach this total. This would mean he would break that record on January 28th against the Boston Celtics if he plays every game. LeBron's quest will be watched closely this season. That's all for your sports update. After the break, John Colavita has the latest updates from the entertainment world. Stay tuned.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need
Oh!
Checking your fantasy league?
Nah, just my 401k statement.
Nice. Where'd you find the money for that?
I've just been saving a little every month.
I can't seem to save anything.
Well, what about all this? What about the money you're spending?
What money? It's gone before I can get my hands on it.
I got a pizza for a Todd.
Hey, can somebody spot me?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
It's 547.
All right, you ready for some baseball trivia? Let's do it. What year produced the most no-hit games in the big leagues? 7 no-hitters in 1990. Wow, that's right. Now a question that's not trivial. How many children will witness bullying this year? The answer? 3 out of 4. 75%? That's right. How many of them will say something?
Kids want to help, but don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov.
So good to see you guys. So, what's up? Oh, we finally bought a place. Holy cow.
You seriously have enough saved to do that?
We've been putting a little aside each month.
Jeez, at the end of the month, we have nothing left to save.
Yeah, I have no idea where it goes.
Well, you're spending a lot on...
Was it good?
Oh, God.
Oh, how is my account overdrawn?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Welcome back to PSN News. I'm John Colavita with your entertainment update. The first annual Penn State Military Appreciation Week kicks off this Friday, November 4th. Grammy-winning jazz, soul, and blues artist Black Joe Lewis and the Honey Bears, along with Cedric Burnside, will perform at the State Theater in downtown State College. The concert begins at 8 p.m. and tickets can be purchased beforehand for $40 and on the day of the show for $46. All proceeds from the show will go toward the Penn State Military Student Fund, which provides recognition and financial assistance through scholarships for Penn State students involved in the military. There will be other events throughout the week which all lead up to the Military Appreciation football game on November 12th. This Saturday morning, State College residents have the opportunity to enjoy the great outdoors at Penn State's Shaver Creek's Environmental Center's open house. Visitors will participate in a multitude of outdoor activities, including a nature walk, a nature photography seminar, and a crayfish quest. There will also be music and story time for the younger attendees. The open house is free for all and runs from 9 a.m. to noon. Due to space concerns, registration is required for some activities. You can register on the Environmental Center's website at shaverscreek.org. In a recent late-night interview with Stephen Colbert, former Friends star Matthew Perry recounts one of his 2 near-death experiences. Perry has told this public about his previous opioid use and how it has caused severe medical problems for the actor. While being treated for his addiction issues in a rehabilitation facility in Switzerland, Perry took 2 medications together, which stopped his heart for 5 minutes. The actor claimed that he had to be revived through CPR, breaking 8 ribs in the process. The incident prevented him from performing in the Netflix film Don't Look Up, which was nominated for 4 Oscars last year. Perry recounts the story, among many others from his life, in his most recent book titled Friends, Lovers, and the Big Terrible Thing. That's all for your entertainment update. After the break, interview anchor Joey Dorman will be speaking with Kyle Kroboth, the president of Legion of Blue. Stay tuned.
Wow, These are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need
Checking your fantasy league?
Nah, just my 401k statement.
Nice. Where'd you find the money for that?
I've just been saving a little every month.
I can't seem to save anything.
Well, what about all this? What about the money you're spending?
What money? It's gone before I can get my hands on it.
I got a pizza for a Todd.
Hey, can somebody spot me?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
It's 547.
All right, you ready for some baseball trivia? Let's do it. What year produced the most no-hit games in the big leagues?
7 no-hitters in 1990.
Wow, that's right. Now a question that's not trivial. How many children will witness bullying this year?
Huh.
The answer? 3 out of 4.
75%.
That's
Wow.
right. How many of them will say something?
Kids want to help, but don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov.
So good to see you guys. So what's up? Oh, we finally bought a place. Holy cow.
You seriously have enough saved to do that?
We've been putting a little aside each month.
Jeez, at the end of the month, we have nothing left to save.
Yeah, I have no idea where it goes.
Well, you're spending a lot on...
Was it good?
Oh, God.
Oh, how is my account overdrawn?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Hello and welcome back to PSN News. I'm Joseph Dorman. Alongside me is Kyle Kroboth, president of the Legion of Blue Club here at Penn State. Kyle, thanks for coming in today.
No, of course.
So let me start off by asking what exactly the Legion of Blue is.
Yeah, so the Legion of Blue is the basketball student section for Penn State men's and women's team. So what we do is we go out to all of the games. We sit in the section right behind the benches where the players sit, and we cheer our hearts out. And we also hold some preseason events. We had the Shrews Slamma Jamma this past week, which was like a pep rally at the East Halls courts. And we also actually just today had the men's basketball open practice, and last week had a women's basketball open practice. So a lot of fun stuff to support the team.
Cool. So how long have you been president of the club?
So I was actually elected president of the club this year, but I've been part of the organization for this is my 3rd year and been going to basketball games my whole time here at Penn State.
Cool. So how would you describe sort of the kind of responsibilities that you hold as president?
So as president, I'd say the biggest thing that I do is really work with athletics on the student experience, making sure that kind of our voices are getting heard as students as to what we want to be seeing at the games and serving as a liaison to make some of that stuff happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you sort of like just work to organize groups.
Yeah. So really, I'd say one of the big things is we really advocated as students to get this this move from. We were previously on the other side of the court in terms of where we were sitting. And that was kind of an issue because you couldn't see us on TV whenever you were panning over the crowd. We couldn't really yell right in players' faces on the other team, kind of give you that home field advantage. So we were able to advocate for that change and really get it done, which is a really exciting thing for us.
Right. So would you say that when it comes to sort of organizing these large groups of people and students, would you credit more the excitement of the sport and the school spirit or actions of you and your exec board?
So I would really put it to both. Obviously, having a good team is going to be part of it because people want to go out. Just look at 2019. You had a team with Lamar Stevens that would have gone into the NCAA tournament if you didn't have COVID happen.
Right.
But really, our job is to facilitate all of that. So we market the team, go out to the hub, pass out flyers, post fun stuff on social media, and really just generate hype for the students and make sure the students know that these games are out there. They're a ton of fun. They're really affordable. The season tickets this year were only $50, and the single game tickets are $5 for non-con and $10 for conference games. So just a super great experience all around and something that we just try to push out.
Cool. So in your eyes, what is the perfect atmosphere or environment for one of these student basketball games?
So really what we want to see is people supporting the team, being loud and being proud. So What we want to do is create a home court advantage for the team.
Right.
And that's facilitated by being behind the benches now, but that's also facilitated by us making sure that everybody is getting loud, getting hype, and really embracing that in-game experience to give that that kind of boost that you see at other universities is what we think we have here and what we can continue to provide as the team gets more successful.
So you sort of want to turn it into like the environments of football games.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously it's a little bit different because there's not going to be as many people and football kind of markets itself.
Yeah.
But for basketball, that's kind of, we want to be loud, and you look at the whiteout and you're like, okay, that's the best environment in college football. There's no reason we can't have the best environment in college basketball at Penn State.
Perfect. So you mentioned COVID. How have the last couple of years, especially with that great 2019 team being put a stop to COVID, how has that sort of affected the Legion of Blue these last few years?
So it's been hard. We had great momentum going through the 2019 to 2020 season, and then that gets completely stopped. We pretty much had to take a gap year on Legion of Blue in that 2020-2021 season because we weren't allowed in the stands. But we were allowed in the stands for the Big Ten Conference tournament that year, which allowed us to kind of start getting ourselves going again, support the team, show the team we were there. And then right after that, we hired our new coach, Micah Shrewsbury. And that just kind of set us off on some awesome momentum. Starting last year, had a ton of people at our first game last year, and just we're kind of hoping to continue to build that momentum. We have our best recruiting class in years coming in this year, and the future is really looking bright. And we think that we've really capitalized on kind of the new beginning after COVID and with Coach Shrewsbury's hiring.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. That sounds promising. So with basketball season coming up, what is it, this Monday?
Yeah, first game Monday.
Right. What do you foresee, or what do you really hope to see for this upcoming season?
So I think that any Penn State basketball fan will tell you that a Big Ten or a NCAA March Madness tournament appearance is going to be the barometer for success for this team. I mean, an NIT berth would be a step up, but really getting into March Madness and showing America what this team can do and what we know it can do is what we're going to be looking for this year. And I think I'm really hopeful that comes to fruition.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, so finally, if someone is sort of interested in joining you and the student section, how can they get involved?
So we do have a GroupMe that really pushes out different information on the games. We have ticket sales online, as I mentioned earlier, and we also have Instagram and Twitter. So if you follow us at Legion of Blue PSU and you're looking to get involved, you can send us a DM there, and that's a great opportunity to find out some more information about us.
Yeah,
so
that's great.
we'd love to hear.
Thanks. Well, Kyle, thanks for coming in today. I appreciate you being here.
No, of course. Thank you for having me on.
Next up, Jamie and Jace will bring us the latest news from across the nation. We'll be right back.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need
Checking your fantasy league?
Nah, just my 401k statement.
Nice. Where'd you find the money for that?
I just been saving a little every month.
I can't seem to save anything.
Well, what about all this? What about the money you're spending?
What money? It's gone before I can get my hands on it.
I got a pizza for a Todd.
Hey, can somebody spot me?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind.
It's 547.
All right, you ready for some baseball trivia? Let's do it. What year produced the most no-hit games in the big leagues?
7 no-hitters in 1990.
Wow, that's right. Now a question that's not trivial. How many children will witness bullying this year?
Huh.
The answer? 3 out of 4.
75%.
That's right. How many of them will say something?
Kids want to help, but don't know how. Teach them how to stop bullying and be more than a bystander at stopbullying.gov.
So good to see you guys. So what's up? Oh, we finally bought a place. Holy cow.
You seriously have enough saved to do that?
We've been putting a little aside each month.
Jeez, at the end of the month, we have nothing left to save.
Yeah, I have no idea where it goes.
Well, you're spending a lot on Was it good?
Oh, God.
Oh, how is my account overdrawn?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Members of Congress are being urged to reach out for additional security resources following the physical attacks on Paul Pelosi, husband of the House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Paul was assaulted by David DePape with a hammer. DePape broke into the couple's house in San Francisco early Friday morning. The two men struggled over the hammer before officers responded to a 911 call to the home. Police say that DePape struck Paul at least once. Pelosi's office said Paul had surgery for a skull fracture and suffered other injuries to his arms and hands. DePape has been charged with attempted murder, residential burglary, assault with a deadly weapon, elder abuse, false imprisonment of an elder, and threats to a public official and their family. DePape has pleaded not guilty but faces 13 years to life in prison if convicted of all local charges. The attack was an unsettling reminder of the nation's toxic political climate.
And now, former Philadelphia sheriff's deputy is being charged for illegally selling guns to an FBI informant while he worked for the department. 2 of those guns were traced back to a shooting in Roxborough weeks earlier that left a 14-year-old dead and 4 other juveniles wounded. Samir Ahmad is being charged with firearms trafficking and illegally selling firearms to a person unlawfully in the United States. The U.S. Attorney's Office in the East District of Pennsylvania said the informant told Ahmad at the time of the purchase that they were in the country illegally. Court documents say he also sold the informant morphine during one of their transactions. Ahmad's employment was terminated on October 19th. The Philadelphia Fraternal Order of Police, which represents both police and deputy sheriffs, had no comment on the case.
Pittsburgh police are now calling the recent shooting in the city's north side as a targeted shooting. 6 people were wounded in the attack outside Destiny of Faith Church. Officials say the church was holding a funeral for a man who was killed in a shooting 2 weeks earlier. At 12:04 p.m., police were alerted that about 5 shots were fired outside the church. Immediately after, police were also alerted to an additional 15 gunshots. The Pittsburgh Public Safety Department said late last Friday that 2 people of interest have been detained. On Saturday, police identified them as 19-year-old Sean Davis and 16-year-old boy who will not be named due to being a minor. Both suspects are being held at Allegheny County Jail on multiple offenses. Charges include criminal attempt homicide, criminal conspiracy, aggravated assault, and firearms charges. The investigation is still ongoing.
After serving nearly 4 decades behind bars for a murder in 1983 and 2 other attempted murders, Maurice Hastings has been released from prison. Hastings was charged with special circumstance murder, with the district attorney's office even seeking the death penalty, but the jury was deadlocked. In 1988, a second jury sentenced him to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Now 69 years old, Hastings' life sentence was vacated during an October 20th court hearing. It was revealed in court that untested DNA evidence connected a different person to the 1983 killing. That suspect died in prison in 2020. Hastings maintained that he was innocent from the time of his arrest. He says he isn't bitter about the false imprisonment, but he just wants to enjoy his life now that he has it back. That concludes our show tonight at PSN News.
Be sure to check us out on Twitter and Facebook at PSN News, on Instagram at Penn State Network News, and to subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/PSN News.
Have a good night and stay safe, Penn State.